This tutorial is about 5 tips that are hidden from normal view and would be missed if you didn't know that they were there. And starting with number 1. So that's to export more than one video at a time, and it's called batch sharing. Normally you'd export the timeline by just selecting export. But what if you wanted to export a number of projects at the same time? And on the surface that looks impossible because you can only have one timeline open at any one time. The simple solution is to use the browser and select projects in the Smart Collections and select a number of projects. Select export and you'll see the exports listed, and you can even select the settings to change those that you wish. But beware, it'll change the settings for all the projects. And then you can go ahead. And tip number 2, automatic speed. This is really helpful when you're editing a clip recorded at 120 frames per second, that you want to have slow motion. You could put this in a 30 frame per second timeline and then adjust the 120 frame clip to show at quarter of the speed. And so this effect will play the 120 frame per second clip in slow motion. And this is a 120 frame per second video, and it's shown with QuickTime's inspector here at 120 frames. Now in Final Cut, I've dragged a portion of that into a new project and set that project to 30 frames per second. And of course Final Cut sets that to run at 30 frames per second. And now with the Option key down, I've created a copy of that and set it to automatic speed. Now playing the 2 clips, the first is at normal speed in the 30 frame per second timeline, and the second clip is automatically slowed down to 25% of that speed. But it's only using original frames that were recorded on the camera, not generated frames that are created by Final Cut. You'll see more about those in the next tip, which is optical flow. Following on from the speed changes, let's look at optical flow, which is one method for Final Cut Pro to smooth the changes in slowed down clips where the original frames are not available. So just consider this. If your camera filmed at 120 frames per second, as you saw on the last tip, and then when you play that, Final Cut's got an actual frame that was filmed by the camera for it to play in slow motion. But if your camera filmed at the normal 30 frame per second, to slow that footage in Final Cut to the same 25% speed, new frames need to be created to substitute for those missing frames. So let me explain it mathematically. 10 seconds of footage filmed at 30 frames per second will give you 300 frames of video. If you want to slow that to 25%, Final Cut needs 1200 frames of video. So where does it get the extra 900 frames? If you don't intervene, it'll duplicate the 300 real frames to fill the gaps. Sounds reasonable, but what actually happens is that each frame is played 4 times, so the video appears to be jumpy. And Final Cut has 2 solutions. These are called frame blending and optical flow. The optical flow is the best for footage slowed down at 25%. And simply speaking, this creates new frames with artificial intelligence. And the results are quite good. I'll use the same waterfall video and slow it down to 25%. First I've played it with no alterations. Notice how the bushes on the side of the clip are really jumpy. Now I'll add optical flow and play again. It's still a bit jumpy, but nowhere near as much. Of course, if you'd filmed at 120 frames per second, as we saw in the last tip, then that jumpiness would not be there at all. Incidentally, as you're no doubt asking, the frame blending solution is for footage slowed down, say 50%, but no more. What it does is similar to a dissolve transition that blends between the missing frames to smooth out those jumps as much as possible, but not perfectly, of course. And number 4, automatic backups. If you're having issues with a Final Cut project or library, or you've had a crash, or you can't open a library, there's a saviour in the wings. And this solution also applies to a project where you've made changes and would like to go back to an earlier version before those changes were made. It's easy to do, and all you need to do is be a bit organised so you don't confuse yourself with what library you're wanting to keep working with. Let me show you. Let's look in the library in August 2021. I've just taken a visual note of the projects currently active. To access the backups to this library, select the File menu and open the library from Backup. There are a number of dates showing going back to September. I'll select that because there'll be a significant difference. The new library opens at the top of the browser sidebar and it's named as August 2021 with the date of the backup. I suggest, to avoid confusion, that you rename it to the latest August 2021 and keep the dates for future reference if you need it. The important thing is that the new name is at the beginning so you can see the different name easily. Looking in the sidebar, you can see how many events were not there in the September library. And it's useful to know that Final Cut Pro will keep backups for these backup libraries as well. If you'd like some more information about the backup libraries and where they're located, make sure you subscribed, and if you haven't done so, press the bell, and that will make sure that you're reminded when that backup tutorial is published. And number 5, verify and repair. If you suspect that you've got a corrupted project while you're editing, you can verify and repair it if needed. But there's no point in doing this if you've just opened Final Cut Pro, as this process is done automatically whenever you launch Final Cut. Make sure you duplicate the project as a snapshot first. Then double-click the original project to make sure it's open in the timeline. And you'll still have the snapshot project should anything go astray. Hold the Option key and select the Clip menu. You'll see a command that was not visible without the Option key. Verify and repair project. Select the command, and if all's okay, you'll get a no repair is needed at this time message. Otherwise, Final Cut will try to repair the inconsistencies for you. And if you want to, now that all's working fine, delete the snapshotted project. It's as simple as that. Finally, if you weren't able to open the project because Final Cut keeps trashing, this video may help. Click the eye above. I hope these tips have been helpful to you. I'm here to help. So if you're looking for one-on-one tuition in Final Cut Pro, just click on trainingfinalcutpro.com. I'll be happy to set up a personalised training program for you. But if you're looking for answers on a specific topic, I also offer free Final Cut Pro support via email. Click the eye above for the link to my free support site. Otherwise, let me know in the comments below if you've got areas that you struggle with in Final Cut, and I'd be happy to produce a video to help you solve those issues. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell.